Welcome to the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Masonry while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian.
And I'm Russ.
Russ, so we're doing this again. We normally don't do outtakes, but Russ had the come aparts about 30 seconds ago. And
Definitely.
And as you know, anybody who watches this or listens, they know that the first part of this is my guilty pleasure. I don't have hobbies other than antagonizing my good old buddy Russ.
And I think he thinks he knows why I just melted down, but he doesn't. But we'll talk about that another day.
That's intriguing. That's
Because
like,
I didn't read that.
That's like having a secret that you're saying I have a secret and you're not going to tell me. So because of that, Russ.
All right. Yes, sir.
Valentine's Day is approaching.
Oh.
Okay. So, as a married man for 28 years, Valentine's Day is important to my wife.
Yes.
So therefore, it is forced to be important to me.
Yes.
So as a married man, I have some obligations of what I have to do, and a father of daughters, and you have a daughter.
Yes.
So my question, Russ, to you is this. Is there more pressure on a single, sorry, you're not single, more pressure on a non-married person at Valentine's Day when there was pressure of you when you were at the height and the happiness of your marriage?
Wow. So I'm going to say I cover the daughters thing just like you do, in the fact that that is always very important. So
You don't like my style though with my daughters, as we discussed.
well, yes. So
Don't say it because you're
that's-
gonna out my secret.
yeah, but if you die, it's bad. If you die, it's really bad. But
You know, I have
it's
a funny
okay.
humor, so maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's okay. But my daughter that lives out of state, she always receives something from her dad on Valentine's Day, and will.
And then what do you send her?
So, wow, wow, that's how we're starting today.
Oh,
really,
I love
today.
It. I love it.
Love
That's what you
But
get for walking out earlier.
Right now, I don't know that I have any more pressure than you do, because you are probably doing the same old stuff, and you're probably boring right now to Heidi. You probably just are. Yeah, you're
This
sad
has gone a
after
different
28
direction than I
years.
expected.
But
This is working
I
against me.
have a new beginning, a new generation, a new life, so I get to have fun at Valentine's Day. So there you go, Mr. Bird.
Well, that worked against me, not quite as I expected. So, Russ, to dig me out of this, we have a Masonic powerhouse on today.
We do. We have
Talk
a
to us
brother
about it.
from McPherson. Our brother Patrick Carr will join us here shortly.
All right, so we're going to go grab our old-fashioned, grab Patrick, come back. We're going to talk all thing Carr. Welcome back. Brother Patrick, welcome.
Thank you for coming.
So
Thanks for having me, guys.
You got to kind of sit in on the first part of our banter back and forth, and we had some off-camera conversations that, that's the cool thing about Masonry is we can hang it on each other, and that's being the
That's
original
part of
bro
it.
code. So as everyone who listens, we like to talk about the man as much as the Mason. That we have lots of folks that come in on this that there's very decorated, lots of Masonic accolades. So we want to talk first. Who is Patrick Carr, the man?
Oh, just a servant. Just a servant. I like to spend time with the brothers. I like to do what I can for our Masonic fraternity and see what I can do to bring us all together closer. You guys sit and lodge with me, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
So let's go all the way back.
are you
though.
like?
Yeah, like where
Maybe
you from?
are you?
Yeah.
Where are you from? And are you like married or?
You were born.
Okay,
in some-
okay,
Were you?
okay,
Yes,
I
yes.
was
So
born
before
many-
Masonry.
Yes. So
Yes. All the way back.
All right. I was born in Richmond, Virginia.
all right.
Grew up there. Parents went through bad divorces like 4 or 5 times. I kid you not. My mother and my birth father were married to each other 3 times.
Well, okay.
Wow.
I kind of had an adopted family. It took me in years later.
Okay.
They were not Masonic.
Okay.
Bought me the Lord, bought me to church, things of that nature.
Okay.
Went to school there, graduated, so my best friends still live there. I didn't find the fraternity. What's funny is I'd seen the rings growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd see them in church. I had no clue. I was like, they got this little V thing going on with
Right.
two V's. I didn't know what that was as a kid.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And not knowing any Masons. Come to find out years later, a young lady I dated in high school my freshman year, I was a center on the football team, and her brother was a quarterback. He was state master counsel in DMLA.
Okay.
I had no clue. I didn't learn this till 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
When I joined the
Interesting.
fraternity.
Yeah.
I joined the fraternity in 2007 is when I was raised in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, Key Lodge number 7,
Okay.
right on the border of Oklahoma. So you want to hear some weird ritual? Invite the Oklahoma brothers over and you can get together and see how bad the ritual can go if you've got people from two jurisdictions.
Are there banjos in either one?
There are no banjos.
Okay.
That's a South Arkansas thing. So
Thank you.
Northwest
Northwest
Arkansas is different.
Northwest is coat and tie.
Yes.
And a little different. Masonry, as you know, when you go regionally, it changes. What doesn't change is the love and the friendship and the brotherly love. It's just awesome. It just doesn't seem to change, whether you're wearing a coat and tie or a tuxedo or whether we're wearing overalls, like a hillbilly tuxedo degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was raised in 2007, February 27th.
Okay.
I didn't know much about the fraternity when I first petitioned. My mentor, a guy named Moose Van Pook, he was the mayor of our town. I was a politician. He was a politician. He was kind of my mentor in politics. And he was in my coffee shop.
I need to take a drink when you're talking about politics. I just need to have
There's
one
nothing
here.
wrong with that, gentlemen.
Yes. Cheers. Yeah.
So Moose.
Moose was sitting in my coffee shop one day, and I walked up. I knew he was the 33rd because I'd seen it in the paper that he got his 33rd, and I know his family. And I said, "So, I'm not good enough to be a Mason. You haven't invited me." And he goes, "Well, it's not like that." I said, "Oh, well, how is it?" You know, I was kind of aggressive, and he started laughing. Which, if you guys know me, when you laugh at me when I'm being serious, it just gets worse. And I was like, "So I'm not good enough." I didn't say that.
You
And
did
about this
ask in a
time-
weird way.
I did, but about this time, another brother came in, a brother named Steve, who was a police officer in town, and he now is over in Oklahoma. And Steve came in, and I said, "So are you a Mason too?" And they started laughing. So I was like, "Well, how do I mean, I don't get it. You know, I'm just not good enough." And they're like, "No, you need to ask." I said, "Ask what?" "Tell me you want to be a Mason. Ask for a petition." I said, "I want a petition." They both grinned and got up. They came back with 2 petitions. One signed the top line of one signed the top line of another.
Oh, nice. It wasn't.
love it.
I was expecting
That's-
Arkansas and Oklahoma. I want to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, so it was funny. So I took Moose's, and Steve Massey signed the second one. If you're watching this, Steve, love you, man. And I took my first degree, had no clue.
How old were you?
I was, let's see, if that was in 2007, 6, 7, 6, 8, 6, 9, 6, I would have been like 39.
Okay. Later.
I'm almost
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
How old were you when you joined? I was 35.
I was late 20s.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish I would have found it
No, me
20 years
too.
earlier.
But we talk about this all the time, Patrick. If I would have joined at 18, I would have been awful.
No.
I offered
It
no
would have been
value.
bad.
I joined exactly when I was supposed to because businesses were
The
in
time
line,
was
kids
right.
were at the right. It worked like it was supposed to. So now you're taking your first degree in 2007.
Took my first degree, and it was interesting, is our lodge had a red light over the altar.
Okay.
And that was the creepiest thing I'd ever seen. when the red light
That could go many directions.
when the red light cut on, I looked around and I was like, okay, I trust these men, but do I really now? You know, the red light went away some years later. We put a Rainbow Girls assembly in there, and we used white light.
Right.
Took my first degree, and one of my brother who became my mentor, Don, told me, he says, he's a mortician. He said, "You just come see me anytime, and we'll work on your lecture." I didn't take that as serious. He really meant it. So I didn't do anything from, let's see, that would have been 2006. That would have been February? No. I took it in like July or August. I didn't really start working on it until December, right before I went overseas to do some meteorite hunting in Niger.
So who doesn't do that? Everybody
Yeah,
does
I mean,
that,
it was
so
kind of a cool thing.
It's a whole other thing.
But it was weird because I didn't really start working on it until then. So the whole time in Niger, I'm trying to run ritual in my head because he was starting to beat it into me. I was passed in late January, and then they had the meeting in February. And Arkansas has Grand Lodge that second weekend.
Okay.
Second or first full weekend. So we had our meeting because we had first Wednesday, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't raise you until after Grand Lodge." So I got raised right after Grand Lodge.
Okay.
And went right into the chairs like we do because we just don't have enough people.
Sure.
And I started as I sat junior deacon for a year for a brother who was traveling, and then they elected me senior deacon. They elected him junior warden, and I followed through the chairs. And in 2010, Most Worshipful Brother Gene Warren, who's Grand Master at the time, installed me as master, and it was great. I mean, I enjoyed it all the way going through. I kept looking for my mentors were great leadership mentors, but they didn't have a lot of Masonic education stuff, and I kept looking for that Masonic.
They had a capacity. They knew this much, but you were wanting like
I wanted the more esoteric.
You
know,
know, you gave me the high school. I'm wanting the PhD version.
And what do we always hear for our young Masons? Oh, you'll get that later.
Right.
You'll get that later. And I finally asked a very poignant question. I said, well, who's going to teach me that?
Yeah.
Man, I ain't teaching that. You know, it was kind of that moment.
Yeah. Right.
Great brothers, though, but they led me to people that could guide me a little bit. They also led me to some great writings, like when I joined the Scottish Rite, Rex Hutchins, A Bridge to Light. Most Worshipful Brother, illustrious Most Worshipful Brother Rex passed last night.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, the world is a sadder place without him, but his writings will continue in everything, but especially A Bridge to Light for young men who are coming into the Scottish Rite.
Right.
But I met him. I met Bob Davis, who's past Grand Master now of Oklahoma, and his writings. There's so many different just people I got to meet as I started to travel. I finished my year as master. We still have the I guess it's a joke, but it's a record, is only a few lodges in Arkansas have ever attempted to get the Twain Award from Masonic Service Association North America. It's a hard award to get. We actually got it the year I served as master. And I went out of the East and then ran for Grand Junior Deacon. In Arkansas, it's a competitive, you run, but you don't tell everybody you're running. You go tell people I'm running.
How far is Grand Junior Deacon from Master? 5 years out?
5 years out.
Okay. So you ran for that in 11.
Right after I got out of office.
So you came out and you ran and you were elected.
I was elected and started up the progressive line.
Okay.
And at that Conference Grand Masters that year, which was held at Atlanta, Georgia, they presented me with the Twain Award for our lodge. So it was really awesome. And then they quit doing it the year after that, and we joked, said, well, if a lodge from Arkansas could get it, we're not doing it again. That was kind of our joke, and it still sets in the lodge. I moved up through the lines, and as I moved, I met a lot of cool people. When you travel Masonically outside of your city or your county or your state, you start meeting some really unique individuals. And that's where you start meeting guys that know so much.
Listen to that. If you have not traveled, you need to travel.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to the travels, for sure.
Yes.
So you're great. Now, there you go.
Keep going. So,
served up through the lines. Had a little hiccup in Arkansas with the Grand Master at the time, and left the fraternity for a little bit.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I was deputy Grand Master when that happened.
You left. Tell me what you mean by leave the fraternity. Did you demit from Masonry?
Oh no, that would have been too easy. No, I was suspended.
Okay.
I was suspended from Arkansas.
Yeah. So those who don't know the story, go and do your own research on this. There was, and I'm going to give the abridged version. It was essentially a rift. If I'm wrong, correct me. If not, just be quiet. There was a rift between the shrine and
but that didn't have anything to do with my situation.
No, not your situation. But there was a lot of hot stuff, and
Yes.
that was kind of a catalyst for this whole stupid line in the sand that are pitting brothers against brothers.
Right.
True.
Okay.
So, fortunately, again, because I traveled, I had the Grand Lodges from literally all over the world saying, hey, we think some bad things happened to you. We want to take care of you. And I didn't. I just sat at home and just did me. Got into law enforcement, went through the academy, joined the Silent Springs Police Department at 51 years old, and served 2 years there, and had a great time. I got invited back into Kansas Masonry 2018, 17 or 18, and I still lived in Arkansas.
Yep.
I wasn't moving to Kansas. Moving to Kansas was the furthest thing from my
There were a
mind.
lot of olive branches extended to brothers around that time, right?
There was a lot of jurisdiction.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
I wasn't the
at
only
that
one.
point
It was a lot of people.
Right.
And it's okay. And I tell people this. I said, the rift between Grand Lodges is healed. I can go anywhere in the world I want and attend lodge. I just can't go to Arkansas because I'm not in good standing there. And that's okay. They're still good brothers. They're good friends.
Okay.
I just can't sit in the lodge until my suspension is completed.
Understood.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not bitter. I'm not mad at anybody.
Yeah.
I know they're Grand Masters. I've talked to them. It's just not a big deal. It's something that happened, and we've moved on.
Right.
And the other brothers who were affected have all moved on as well. And that's a good thing. That's the good thing about Masonry. Kansas offered olive branch to a lot of people. So did Missouri. So did many other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only one. I'm not a look at me, look what happened to me.
Right.
We moved on. How did I get to Kansas, though, which is kind of funny?
He just stole my question. So we have questions up here for those who listen. So this is what he's doing. This is a Jeff Souter move. Go ahead and continue, Mr. Carr. This is your show. Go ahead. We'll just wait.
The two
this is all
important questions are, what are you doing in Masonry? What are you doing personally? So you got to inject some personal stuff in here.
Yes.
So but other than that, take it away.
So your wife hasn't been mentioned yet, and that cost you a diamond or a dress.
I just introduced her at an installation of Bester G. Brown, and she doesn't want dresses anymore. She wants jewelry. So.
Yeah. So now you owe her jewelry, but would you please just so I'm not nervous anymore. Would you introduce her right now, and then we can continue? Because I am.
We try to save our fellow brothers on this, but they just keep wanting to hurt themselves.
My wife is the love of my life. We've been married for March 10th will be 33 years. Wow. They didn't think it would make it a day. They're right. It didn't make it a day. It made it 365 times 33.
Fantastic.
We have 3 children. Rachel, who's a past Grand Worthy Advisor of Arkansas Rainbow.
Okay.
Our oldest daughter is Rebecca. Rebecca lives in California. She's a graduate of Wichita State University's master's degree in opera performance.
Fantastic.
She owns several music schools out there in South Pasadena and Southern Cal.
Okay.
And we went out there a few years ago. Matter of fact, 2018, when I moved here, we went out there for her installation as Worthy Matron.
Okay.
For Eastern Star.
Okay.
My son is kind of my adopted son, Matt Byers. Love you, Matt. Matt is still in Northwest Arkansas. He's a member of Hancock Lodge, number 311, and he owns a small business there with his wife and his 2 boys, my grandsons.
2 daughters.
2 daughters and a son.
And we still have yet to hear your wife's name.
My wife's name is Adrian.
Adrian
is a past state mother advisor.
Adrian, we tried, girl.
We tried.
You already know what he does in real life.
Water.
So we will sell him out, but we've got you, girl.
So I love these 2. Adrian's a past state mother advisor of Arkansas Rainbow, and she actually has a Cryptic Masons Youth Leader of the Year award from the General Grand Cryptic Masons.
What does she do on every day?
My wife
Wednesday.
My wife is gainfully retired, except she now serves as the part-time alumni director for Central Christian College of Kansas.
In McPherson.
Quite frankly, I think we ought to take this road on this on the road, and we should meet her at the Stuga in Lindsberg and interview her and find out.
I like it.
Truly the real story.
You know what? I've got Adrian. We're coming for you, girl.
We are.
We're going to have some cocktails and dinner.
Yes.
Hide.
So, we interrupted you.
That's okay.
There was a lot going on.
With
your Masonic career. So, the Friends of the Grand Lodge of Kansas, actually, a lot of Masons in Kansas sort of they always sort of throw stones at Grand Lodge and who are they and whatnot. Well, Grand Lodge is us.
We are Grand Lodge.
Every Mason in Kansas, we are Grand Lodge. So the Grand Lodge of Kansas did some cool things with some brothers in Arkansas that were really in need. So
true.
So share that a little
bit
more.
Which is really part of our obligation.
It really is.
If you're not a Mason, you need to figure out what that means. But as brothers, we have an obligation to look out for our brothers in need and in distress. And it sounds like that the bordering states, and probably many of the states just here, they saw some brothers in distress in Arkansas, and they said, we're here to help, essentially.
At that time. Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. The delegates of Kansas, not to want to rehash it, but the delegates of Kansas withdrew recognition from Arkansas. Because they viewed that many of us didn't receive what's called due process.
Right.
Which is important in any kind of Masonic trial or action.
Yep, for sure.
And once that was done, the delegates a few years ago, we re-recognized. I was one of the delegates. I voted to re-recognize Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
if anybody could have had that axe to grind, you're just like, that's not Masonic.
Yeah.
No.
So I love it.
What's happened.
Let's cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to being a good brother.
Yeah.
We all try.
Appreciate it.
It's called doing what's right.
Yeah.
And if we don't believe our obligations, we shouldn't take them.
Well,
We're
believing
supposed to
them
do
is
what's
one
right.
thing and living them is the other.
And it's
Right.
never easy. We all fell
Right.
short.
Sure.
Let's be honest.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
But the idea is, how do you recover from falling short? What do you do
Yes.
to contribute to our craft and our fraternity to make it a better place?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, to essentially leave it better than how it was given to us, so to speak. So,
So,
Go ahead.
yeah.
You asked how I got here.
Yeah.
How did I get here? I wasn't in law enforcement until 2017, February 2017. And Right Worshipful Brother Rob McClarty, who was just Worshipful Brother Rob McClarty at that time, since he met me, he was like, you need to be a cop. You need to be a cop. Man, I ain't going to be a cop. I own my own business. Man, I got my own time. You need to be a cop. Well, I became a cop, just not with him.
right.
And I knew I was going to see him at the grand event, they called it. It was at the Shrine in Kansas City. So I just shot him a quick text, said, hey, you want to talk about your department? Because if I'm going to move, this is the right time of my life to do it. And I get this yes, or absolutely, or something like that.
Very, very, very McClarty.
We had a nice talk, and a couple days later, I got a call and said, hey, we haven't seen your application yet. It's because I hadn't applied yet.
Yeah.
So I applied, and 30 days later, I was hired to come as a patrol officer. Went through field training here. It's not any different than field training anywhere else. You just have to learn the streets and learn the difference in Kansas law versus Arkansas law and Oklahoma law.
But not into the law enforcement training center, just right into his department.
No, just right into the department. I did have to spend a
some
week.
FTO.
I had to spend a week at KLETC,
Yeah.
just like everybody does, do what they call reciprocity.
Right.
Took my tests. Matter of fact, I finished that right before Grand Lodge.
Okay.
And that was the year that Rob became Grand Junior Deacon.
Right.
So it was great. I promoted 11 months later. I started December 31st, 2018, and mid-November of 2019, I was promoted to detective, and that's where I've been since then.
Nice.
Since then, I finished my bachelor's degree at Central Christian College of Kansas in criminal justice, and my master's degree will be finished early May, right in the middle of Grand York, right? Imagine that, in strategic leadership.
Nice.
And that is McPherson Police Department.
That's McPherson Police Department.
Nice.
That's what I do,
That's what you
and
do.
I have a blast.
Good. Good.
Love it.
Love what I do.
On any given Saturday that you're not doing something Masonic, you and your wife go out. What do you do?
We go sightsee. That was a big joke. We used to call it the traveling cars when we first moved
Yeah.
here, because my days off were Monday and Tuesday. Well, nothing's open on Monday, so it's a great day to go out. So
Right.
we just get in the car and we'll drive. We still do that.
Awesome.
We just drive the
There's a lot
countryside.
of stuff to see up there.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff all
Yeah.
over Kansas. The
Yes.
Flint Hills are beautiful.
There is a book about all the different things to see in Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah. Yes. If you don't have it, you.
Well, people laugh at Kansas
share
is
with
flat.
Flyover country. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not.
We've got a lot of stuff, and where he grew up, and I grew up out in western Kansas with the Gyp Hills by Medicine Lodge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Beautiful out west.
So you just came out of the east in McPherson Lodge.
Yes.
Yes.
So if there was one thing, because you got a question, if
Yep.
there was one thing that only one thing that you would do differently, what would it be? It's like, I wish I could have done this, but I didn't get to it, or this was, what's one thing? Just
Oh
one.
man, I wish I would have done it.
It would be study clubs.
Okay.
I tried really hard to get our study clubs going, and I just couldn't get it going. We were
Right.
going to go through Andrew Hammer's book, Observing the Craft.
Yeah.
And we bought it, but we just couldn't get enough people.
couldn't put it
And
together.
we want to do once a month, and it just didn't happen.
That's a good one.
I think it would have been a good way to add more light into our lodge.
That's a good one.
We've talked about that before, and you and I we went through Pike at a different time, and when I first came in, there truly was a study club, and
We had one too, and you were officers, and you
But
were moving.
we had to go through the officer every quarter.
Every quarter you'd
changed
move.
it, and it was
Wow.
a fascinating.
That's
thing.
impressive.
And even going back to, Russ joined 25 years ago and 15 years ago here. So when he joined, well, even before he joined, if you didn't go through all of the chairs in study club, you weren't even sniffing Tyler at Pike.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
That's impressive.
There was 7,000 members, so and lodges. People were coming to lodge, so you had parallels running, and
But
the
that
study
was the
clubs doing
bond
degree
at
work too.
study club.
Yeah, we
it was
love study
fascinating.
club.
Yeah.
Because you'd call and you'd call, say, "Hey, Mike, you're going to study club." Yeah, I'm going. All right, I'll go.
Yeah.
You're looking for. It's like that workout buddy.
And
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
and the peer pressure is for all Masons in Kansas. If your lodge doesn't have a study club, it needs one. And quite frankly, probably the beginning people in study club are the officers of your lodge.
Yeah.
So it is vitally important that you spend time together with brothers going through ritual and making sure that we...
Listen, it's not boring lodge. Study club is fun. This is where you really just make your mistakes, but you laugh with each other. And so when you do get into the big seats and you make the mistake, the essence is there, but it shows that you care for it. And it's practice makes perfect.
Shout out to Jimmy Craig, our study club coach for a long time. He basically said, you don't know your name, but sit here and this is what you say. And now it was like, well, I don't know this. It doesn't matter whether you know it.
Yeah.
Sit here and say that.
He was the
great.
best. He was the
so
best.
We've taken that away from you.
No, that's awesome.
So study
that's
club.
Awesome.
So you're
study clubs.
So study club. We're covering lots of stuff here.
We are.
So, what Grand Lodge officers have you held? Let's just say so in Arkansas, and what's been going on in Grand Lodge in Kansas?
Just served as master of my lodge.
Okay.
Just went out as master of my lodge and went into Caledonia to 459, Kansas' only Celtic Heritage Lodge. We're the kilted guys.
Yes.
And just matter of fact, that's
that one. There's a lot of green on that.
There's a lot of green on that.
Yes.
There's a lot
I bet it's the only green square and compass you've ever seen. And if you want one, you get to come visit our lodge. Come visit our lodge. Hey, even join.
Do I have to wear a dress?
You do not have to.
Oh,
here we go.
Listen,
I'll toast that. There we go, gentlemen. There we go.
I was so going to fire the shot, but I counted on Brother Russ.
I knew it'd be one of you. I just didn't know which one. I really thought
you thought it was me. I knew it was coming.
Really was going to go from there.
Russ has visited my lodges enough. I'm not. No, Brian. I knew you were going to go there.
I like it.
But it is. The only thing I've served on in Kansas is I am the chair of the Grand Lodge Education Committee.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty important one. I wouldn't say the only thing.
It keeps me busy.
If you keep that needle moving.
I don't even know where we're at.
That's right. Yeah. I kind of. Are you a Shriner?
I am a Shriner.
At ISIS or Midian?
I'm a member of Midian and I'm a member of the Caledonian Club.
Okay. Perfect. You know, we should have. If we were really good membership guys, we were membership guys, we would know that.
Yes.
So apparently we were.
We would have done our research, and we would have done
our research.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
The Shrine's a lot of fun.
So, how is Masonry different in Kansas than Arkansas? What are the things that you go, oh, what?
Not the nonsensical stuff, but
just,
like if we were going to walk into an Arkansas lodge without giving away, would we notice a real difference?
Yeah, ritual's different.
Okay.
The ritual's different. The opening is different. You know, Kansas, we open on basically any degree we want.
Right.
Okay.
Generally master's degree, because we consider everything else open under that.
Right.
In Arkansas, you open all the way up. If you've got 7 guys, you open the under apprentice.
Oh, wow.
Then you open the fellowcraft, you open the master. So an opening in Arkansas is a little longer. But you remember that work. You will remember that work. So
does that make for a long opening?
It does make for a long opening.
Okay.
Does it make for mind-numbing opening or not?
It can, but the interesting part is you'll have an entered apprentice in there, and then you're like, okay, yeah, you saw the opening, get out. You know, it's kind of the joke is, you know, we're done with you.
Interesting.
I can remember a time when we'd visit Oklahoma when they only opened on the master's degree and did work there. Arkansas still only does business on the master's degree. Only master masons can vote, just like here. But we can do business on any degree.
Right.
You can open an apprentice lodge and still do pay your bills and do your business. In Arkansas, they open on all 3, and you only do business in the master's degree.
Okay.
And I can remember visiting Oklahoma and seeing entered apprentice and fellowcrafts at that time, this is many years ago, sitting outside the lodge because they only opened the master's degree, they couldn't come in. Okay. So they didn't see. I believe they've made some changes since then.
Okay.
Masonic protocol changes a lot.
Right.
Arkansas, the difference protocol that you'll see is that all Grand Lodge officers are greeted at every meeting just about. I mean, if you've got the Grand Tyler there, you're going to bring him for the altar, you're going to introduce him, give him public grand honors, thank him for being there. Here we only do that with past Grand Masters and Grand Masters. I like that.
Right.
Yes.
I can't tell you the number of times. You know, my brother, we want to receive you. I feel received. You know, we're not there
Right.
as a Grand Lodge officer
Yes.
to do anything. We're there just to attend
To be
the
a
meeting.
part of
Right.
To be a part of the
Just
life
to be a
and the
brother
fellowship.
on the
To
level.
be a brother.
And that's one thing I do appreciate about Kansas. I don't know about all other Grand Lodges, but Kansas, when we say we are Grand Lodge, we really do mean it.
Yes.
We're all part of that. And the Grand Lodge officers come in, they're like, how you doing? I had Brother Doug Wilkinson in my lodge a few months ago.
Yeah.
He wore a white apron.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be introduced.
Yeah.
That is the difference in our jurisdiction
Yeah.
than a lot of jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like this is going to sound a little harsh, but the egos are pushed to the side a little bit more, maybe.
Kansas does. We do everything we can to, it seems, to
Yeah,
push
yeah.
egos to the side.
that's
good.
And I like that.
Yeah, I do. Well, it goes back to
I
on the
love
level.
that. That
Yeah.
is.
One interesting thing we learned about, for those of the listeners, on the Christmas podcast with Jeffrey L. Souter, we talked about his run up through Grand Master of Kansas. One thing he was proud of, he had one edict when he was Grand Master, and the edict was that you could open on any degree to do business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was
so
cousin
he
Jeff.
was the one. So I'm like, well, that's cool. So shout out to Jeff Souter. We appreciate you doing that. That was pretty awesome. We're going to talk with you a little bit more, but if I were to inquire about being a Mason today, what's like not the deep dive, but what's the 50-word version of why it should be? What's the benefit for me to be a Mason today? If I said, man, I really like the way you kind of move and you do some stuff, I'd like to be a Mason. And I don't think this question is unfair. When somebody says, well, really, what's in it for me? I think that's a fair question because I'm going to ask you back, what do you think you're going to bring to us? So
Absolutely.
what value, if I were a guy, I'm a 50-year-old guy today and I want to join, what value?
What I'm going to tell you is that we're going to do some things to you that you're not familiar with. We're going to push what your thought processes. We're going to push what you say you believe. And we're going to tell you to have convictions about what you say you believe. We're going to give you a set of tools and some abilities to actually be accountable to yourself. But more than that, you're going to be accountable to us. You know, in the old days, churches held most of that accountability. Mm-hmm. You went to church, you did something stupid, you were going to get called about it.
Right.
You were divorced your wife, you were running around, you were going to get a phone call.
Yeah.
Churches don't do that as much as they used to.
Yeah.
The lodge, we still do that. My brother, you did such and such. Why don't we come over and talk about that?
Yes.
It's whispering that good counsel. You're going to have a group of men that you're going to be accountable to, but are also going to be accountable to you. And that helps you develop emotionally. It helps your maturity level develop, and it also helps you spiritually move forward. Because we're constantly there, not in your face, but helping you realize there's a better way to do things.
Yeah.
I'd sign up. That's pretty good one.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And
good.
you almost have tears in your eyes. Because
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Because I truly believe that
Yeah.
is what Masonry is about. Because we hold each other
We do.
to account.
We do.
And sometimes that is, hey, dude,
That's the original bro
that's
code.
the bro code.
Yeah.
It's the original bro
It
code.
really is. It really
Men
is.
need to be around men.
So I'm going to jump all the way to the end.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the most important question of the podcast. So on the screen in front of you, you'll see 4 items. A revolver. Pick what caliber. I don't care. Okay? Then you've got just a nice semi-automatic pistol. I don't care if you're a Glock fan, a SIG fan, a Ruger, whatever. Then you've got you a shotgun, whether it's the fold over, the double barrel, the single, the pump action, whatever, and an AR. Now, I know which one you're going to keep, so we're not even going to discuss that. One has to go forever. It was never invented. Which one is it and why?
Ooh.
Never invented. Because
Never
you could
invented.
change the course of history by this.
We got to keep the revolver because the revolver
Nice.
leads into all semi-automatics because of the concept of multiple
Yes.
trigger pulls and multiple
Yes.
projectiles.
Yes.
Honestly, the one I'd get rid of is a shotgun.
I agree.
Distance isn't as good as the AR with the rifle, with like a 223 or a 5.54. You're also dealing with either 1 or 2 shots. Of course, you may have a pump with 5, but it's still 5
Or
shots.
a Saiga like I've got with the 100-round drum, but that's a whole nother
We
thing.
don't want to talk about that.
That's a.
But I get rid of the shotgun.
Yeah.
Because I can do anything I can do with that shotgun, even scatter, because
Yeah.
they still make scatter shot that
Yep.
you can put into a pistol.
Yep.
Don't like it, but you can still do scatter shot. I would definitely get rid of the shotgun. As much as I hate it, it pains me to
Okay.
admit.
What would you have said?
I would have said the AR because all of the others I can find a use for. And at the end of the day,
I'm so disgusted with you.
I love to hunt, but then at the end of the day, when I'm standing in my briefs at the end of my hallway, I'm going to shoot a shotgun down that hall to that dude, not an AR, because I'll
like your
miss him with the
rationale,
AR.
but I am disgusted. So, hey, that's all we have for this. Thank you, Patrick, for coming in.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Brothers,
very much.
Thank you.
for having me. Be blessed.